Hey everyone, so we're back. I'm going to show you the spot that I chose. By the way, there's a lot of snow today. There's more. I know I say that every time, but it seems like there's just more and more. So I'm going to show you guys and give you guys an example. I'm wearing snowshoes and I have no gear on my back. When I step into this, I go about a foot and a half into the snow. So it's slow going, but I did find a spot. And yes, I tried to turn and I fell down over there. If anyone's worn snowshoes before, you know how easily your feet get tangled up. I'm gonna set up here. I'm gonna have my back to those trees, those fallen trees there. I'm gonna tap down the snow. Hopefully I'm not near anyone. I hear some dogs barking in the forest. I was a bit concerned because the pole of the tent, I'll show you guys in a bit, you need to put it into the snow that holds the tent up. The problem is, with the snow being this deep, it might just sink in. So I'm hoping to use this little piece of wood, create a little divot there, sit that in the snow. Shouldn't sink in too much. I'll show you guys that more in detail, but that was a concern of mine with such deep snow. How do I set up my tent? There is a second option that I can set it up between, you know, put a ridge line between two trees, which I don't have a second tree, so this one's way too low. So I'm hoping this piece of wood works. If not, we'll just choose another spot, which hopefully we don't have to do. So let me get that set up, and then we'll start on our first beer. Hey, so this is the tent I'll be using today. I just want to show how compact this thing can get. Compacts really down really small. I'll go into more detail in a bit. I'll set it up first and I'll show you guys. Look what we have. We didn't forget it today. Alright, so we're celebrating not one, but two things today. First being, I did not forget the stove jack. and I have the stove. So that's one. Two, I was gonna say thank you for 100 subscribers, but I actually hit, I think yesterday I hit 150. So thanks to anyone who's, if you viewed, commented, liked, subscribed, all that stuff, it's appreciated. It's actually really encouraging that actually at least a few people like the videos. And I know a lot of people on YouTube say this, that it really helps the channel. And now posting my first few videos, I really do see how it helps. So it's really appreciated, guys. And for that, I have 2 beers today. They're actually only 2.5%. So, but it is from Cardinal Brewery and Luke's Brewery. They did a collab. 2 local breweries did a collab together, and they came out with 2 different beers. So this is the IPA, and there is a lager I'll show you later. So cheers, everyone. Thanks very much. And I will be setting up. Cheers first. I'll be setting up the stove next. It is a bit warm for a hot tent. It's 0 or 1 degree Celsius. But the season's coming to an end. We're beginning of March right now. Beginning of March. So I might only get a few more chances to try it out before it gets too warm and too slushy and too wet. So yeah, I waited way too long. Usually you should use it at -10, -5, -10. Anything colder than that is perfect for a hot tent. So kind of missed my opportunity with that. Well, I'll definitely use it more. I have the Luke's tent. This is a One Tigris tent, by the way. It's the first hot tent I bought. It was also the cheapest one available, I think. It's probably not anymore, but at the time it was the cheapest one. I think it was $100 Canadian. Reason being, the options were either something like this or an Esker. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the company Esker. I'm not. I've never owned any of their products. Not that they're good products. They're very good products, from what I hear. But you're going to be looking at $1,000 plus for a hot tent. So considering I didn't even know if I liked this yet, it wasn't worth the investment. So I started with this. It's $100. As you saw earlier, it packs down incredibly small. This is also a tent that I use backpacking in summer. It weighs next to nothing. And yeah, once I get the stove set up, I'll show you guys a bit more. Cheers. Also, that piece of wood I showed you earlier worked beautifully. I just made a little divot in it, put the stick down, cover the sides with snow, and I mean, I can move with my hand, but it's in there solid. No snow or wind is going to take that down right now. Here's the stove. I'll get that opened up in a minute. And I want to address one thing. I didn't bring a chair, but I'm taking the precautions of keeping dry this time. In one of my other videos, I believe it was the tarp video, it was the same temperature, and that's my sled right there. It was 0 degrees, and it was super warm, so I didn't really take any precautions. I was sitting in the snow, lying in the snow when I was doing, making my dinner, prepping my camp and everything. And at night, I was super cold, and I just thought, it got really cold at night. By the way, the bows in that video were not enough. I put a little bit, and I thought to myself, this is probably not enough, but I'll be okay. They were not enough. I was cold on my back. But when I was editing the video, I walked back to my bed or my camp at one point, and I saw how wet my snow pants were on the back. And so this time I'm taking the precaution. I am kneeling down and sitting down on this tonight, and it's going to go underneath me when I sleep with my sleeping pad. And the damper too, I need to look up the best way to use that or to optimize that. If you keep it fully open, you end up burning way too hot and going through your wood much faster. So there's like a sweet spot where you keep it, I'm gonna say midway, I don't know exactly where it is, but you keep it so there's enough airflow and it's not too much that you just completely burn out your wood. So I think to start, I'll leave it open. I'll do that after, but I'll gauge it as I go. The feet come out here. It's really convenient. They sell fold-up models as well. I opted for this because I think it weighs 3 pounds. It's not heavy enough that I need to worry about the weight, and it can fit. I can strap it to the outside of my backpack. I can't fit it inside like those fold-up models, but I can strap it on the outside, or I carry it in one hand. I've carried it with one hand before. yeah, so now for the funnest part, the exhaust pipe. Yeah, not looking forward to that. Alright, so there it is. That's the Pomoly Traveler. And if you saw the impressed look on my face, I don't know if you noticed it or not, when I was setting up the stovepipe, it's because I struggled so hard the first time. But I guess once you burn it in, like I was supposed to burn in, can I see that? Yeah. The other side of the exhaust is completely blue there. And what I was supposed to do is burn it in, flip it over, and burn it in that side as well. And I noticed it was like it wanted, what's the term? Not muscle memory, but like the metal wanted to return to that shape. Alright, so I'll go over the sleep setup real quick. You've seen this all before. This blue pad here is a Climate Static V. It's meant for summer, but I double it up with a foam pad. And yeah, you can see that there. I'm using it to kneel on right now, not to get too wet. It gives me about a 3R value, which is, for me, it's enough in this kind of weather. Usually in winter, -10, -5 Celsius, you want 5, an R rating of 5. There are much better videos on YouTube explaining R ratings, so I won't go too much into it. But at 0 degrees, you've already seen my blanket and liner setup. I find this works for me, and this liner, not this liner, but this pad packs down to the size of a can. It's super small, so it's my go-to pad. If I can get by with using that, that's what I'm bringing. And don't know if I mentioned it yet, but I am leaving those gaps open under the tent. Reason being, I mean, yes, it will, some of the heat will escape. I'll have a bit of a draft over there. I'm not too worried with the temperature. I might block that one up a bit later. I probably won't and regret it later at night, but anyway. Reason being is I don't have a CO2 detector. So I'd rather have that airflow and not suffocate to death with this guy. And yeah, I'd rather just be a little bit colder and know that I'm safe until I do get a CO2 detector, which is definitely on the list to buy soon. So if anyone has any recommendations for one, please let me know. Alright, so I'm set up right here. I originally wanted to set up in front of me, but that's a no-go. Never sleep under something like that. You never know when it's going to come down. I mean, I can walk underneath it, but I wouldn't want to spend a few hours. I'm going to start a fire, so I saw a little birch tree over there. I don't know if it's a birch tree, but it looks like a birch tree, so we're going to use that as fire starter. Oh man, and I took off my snowshoes, so it's it's deep. There's a lot of these trees here that you shouldn't be sleeping under. That one too is ready to go down. Oh man, I don't even know if I can get there. Look, I took off my snowshoes. I'm into my knee right now. This gives me an idea for the night, another shelter actually. I'm thinking of doing, sorry, I'm trying to climb this little hill. Oh man, I should have really used this for something. I want to do an igloo. The problem is, to actually do an igloo, you need like blocky, like hard blocky snow, which we don't have. Here we go. I don't know what's in this stuff. It's dry and fire start. Super easy with it. Super easy. Getting ahead of myself. Watch me struggle. Watch me struggle start the fire. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing an igloo. Problem is, it's hard. It's really hard to build with the kind of snow we have here. So I'm thinking of doing a quinzhee. Anyone who I just want to show you quick how hot this gets, how fast this gets hot. So here's a little bit of water. It just rolls right off. It's insane how hot this thing gets. And you might notice I have some wood on the side. Had some small pieces to start it. I have some medium size. And the big stuff I put underneath, one, to dry it out, and two, it stops the stove from melting down into the snow. And it works as storage too. So today I'm just doing some I thought this was instant rice, and I just read the pack and you need 20 minutes to cook this thing. So we're starting it now. Let me get the rice in there first, the water in there first, before I just burn the bottom of the pot. Again, we just eyeball everything here. That looks about right. Throw the pack of rice in. There you go. Little pack of flavoring in. I thought that was already mixed in there, but apparently not. Oh, that's a lot of mix for that quantity. Alright, and plan on cooking sausages on this, if they fit. They should fit. I have a feeling these are going to burn real fast. Another thing that's cool about this set, like right now the sausage is getting way too warm. Starting to burn actually. I'm no chef, by the way. So it's starting to burn, but what's cool about this is you can actually use it as a double boiler. Set it up like this, which I'm actually going to do right now because I don't want this to cook anymore. I'm going to add it into the rice later anyway, so it doesn't really matter how well it's done, but yeah, actually works as a double boiler. I'm going to leave it like that for now. Alright, so dinner's ready. Stove was going for maybe 45 minutes. I like doing this comparison. It's 0 degrees outside right now. And I set up a thermometer. I called it a thermostat in one of my videos. I'm glad no one called me out on that. It's about 10 degrees. I doubt you can see that on screen. It's about 10 degrees Celsius in here right now. Super comfortable. Like I promised, here's the second beer. It's another beer from Luke's Brewery and Cardinal Brewery. And it's another 2.5. This is a Vienna lager. I prefer it much more than the IPA. Not to say the IPA is bad, I just prefer a lager. And don't be fooled by the 2.5, it's a really tasty beer. So, cheers. I already opened it. And for dinner, it cooked up really fast on that stove. Couldn't even film it because I had to actually watch it the whole time. So it was just some rice, some sausage. You know me, nothing crazy, nothing too excited, to be honest. And I seem to forget something every time I come camping. That stovepipe, you need to tie up the top and like stake it down so it doesn't sway. I have power cords like made up for that, and I completely forgot them. So tomorrow what I'm going to do is put them in the bag with the stove. That way I don't forget it. And hopefully I stop forgetting things. There's always something. I always make the best of it, but always forget some little detail, something. Yeah. So, I'm going to eat this, guys. And I'll probably start a little fire soon. Because I don't have that those tie downs for the stove. I don't want to keep it running all night. So I'll make a little fire outside. See you guys then. So thanks for watching. And I'm going to finish up this beer, head inside there. If there is some kind of camping you guys prefer to watch, whether it's tarps, tents, the bushcrafty stuff, let me know. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm just trying to do a rotation now so it stays interesting. But if there's a preference, then I'm all for it. Good night, guys. Alright, fire's dying down outside. I'm just lying in bed right now. I haven't gotten ready to sleep yet, but I'm just chilling here for now. This stove, I stoked it up and it's absolutely roaring. In fact, I had to close it because the stove, this was all red. This was all red. I just want to show you guys. It's hard to see this thing on camera, but let me get a good angle. There you go. It's the best angle I can get. It's 20 degrees in here right now. It's super warm. So I'm going to turn it off. It'll keep some heat in here for the next hour maybe. And I'll get to sleep. Look, if I turn my headlamp off, let's see if we can see it. No, you can't see it right now. It was pink. This whole thing was pink and red. This whole thing was red. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you in the next one.